The Monocle by Jodie Johnson. I had just relocated from my work and decided it was time to give myself a walking tour downtown, where I found myself wandering onto the local university campus. There looked to be a whole new building that was recently constructed, and the architecture fascinated me. I decided to go inside and explore. The halls were all decked out in artwork in gold with doors opening into classrooms. One such door was wide open, so I peered in. Students were rather numerous and scattered about this vast, multi-leveled room. Some were even sitting or laying on the floor and the stairs that traversed the spaces from the back walls to what looked like multi-dimensional crests of chairs all along the front end of the room. It was so unique that you really couldn't tell if the front was the front or the back was the back, and I couldn't stop myself from wandering in and mulling all about. A young man of about 19 was lying on the stairs, looking down to the open level below. I stopped and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm looking for my dad." I said, "Huh?" And I peered down between the gold bar rails. Looking, I didn't see anything, so I just stood there. "Yeah," he said, "my dad. He passed away 2 years ago, and I'm looking for him. That's the assignment here, to prove or disprove the afterlife exists." Wow, what a class! Really interesting. I walked away. He kept looking. I sat down in about the middle of the room, taking in the action, or lack thereof in some instances, when a man about a decade older than myself sat beside me. His persona kind of screamed, "Professor!" He didn't say a word. Finally I said, "I'm curious. What do you hope to accomplish with this assignment?" He looked at me. "That the dead are dead. There's no afterlife." I said, "Well, that's easily disproven. There, your theory." He said, "Oh yeah? Show me." I said, "Well, we both have energy. It's a unique set to us. Energy can never be destroyed. It's a basic premise in physics. Is this a quantum physics class?" He said, "No." I said, well... I just shook my head. "Am I sitting beside you?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, how do you know?" He said, "I can see you and hear you." I said, "Well, close your eyes." So he did. And we sat there, silent. After 5 minutes, he says, "You're still here, but you're alive. I'm trying to disprove life exists after, and if you died today, I wouldn't still feel you beside me next week." "Oh, really?" I said. "You sure about that?" "Yes," he said, "very sure." I reached into my pocket and pulled out a dime and handed it to him. The year of my birth, 1977, was imprinted on it. I told him, "Hang on to this. Pull it out in a week's time while sitting here. Now, follow me." We both stood, and he walked behind me until we came over to another young student with long, straight, brown hair. She looked a bit aimlessly lost, but something instinctively told me that this class was hitting her especially hard. "Hi," I said. "Hi." She looked down. "Have you lost someone you're close to that you really miss?" "Yes," she replied. "My dear sweet friend, Kaylee. She died when we were only 8. "I'm so sorry for your loss," I told her. "How do I prove she's still here in the afterlife?" she asked me. "Well, I think she wore something, and you have it, and you carry it with you," I told her, and at that point she lit up. She reached into her purse and pulled out a super thick, heart-shaped monocle. Kaylee couldn't see so well. She used to wear this so she could see the world around her. She then pulled out a photo, and there stood two young, vibrant 8-year-olds with long, straight brown hair, smiling. And Kaylee had on her very unique monocle. I looked at this young, vibrant college student holding the monocle in her hand. "Put it on," I instructed. She carefully placed it on over her face, covering both her eyes with it. She looked at me and her professor, who loomed behind me. I turned to her and said, "What do you feel?" She said, in a very soft voice, "I feel Kaylee." I turned to the professor. "There's your proof. She's here now." As I walked away, neither said anything to one another. I only heard a voice, "Class, you can all stop looking now. We've solved the mystery."